Yes, all right. Welcome back to Kosi's Arsenal podcast. My name is Kosi, and this is the show that brings you your player ratings. Arsenal won, Benfica won. That was the finest score. We did the match reaction about it. We shared our thoughts, what we thought. We reacted. Everybody said we deserved, the 3 points. Everybody said we deserved the win, but the poor finishing couldn't actually let us go with a win. But I think it was a fair result in the end. Arsenal pulling one back, not actually pulling one back, but leveling up matters through Bukayo Saka after Benfica scoring. I love the way we reacted. That was brilliant. It really takes some time for Arsenal to react in a game, but that was, it looked like it was our game. 90 minutes, even when they scored, we never panicked. It was our game, and I'm going to be rewarding some of those players and awarding some marks according to SofaScore score. And we're going to be looking at each player in each category, in each department. What did they do? What did they offer? Did they actually offer enough? Did they actually, deceive? Because yesterday I was looking at that game and I was looking at players like Gabriel Magalis, a little bit shaky, but of course he wasn't. He was unpunished because I think Benfica never had a big say in that game. Cedric Soares, was he on top of his game? I don't think so. But I also think players like Tobias, players like Bukayo Saka and Martin Odergate actually. Were on top of the game. I mean, they did everything they had to do, yesterday. And I'm going to really give a lot of credit to Martin Odegaard as well as Emil Smith Rowe. But I'll start with Leno, who in this case gets a 6.9 rating out of 10. He played 90 minutes. He had 3 saves yesterday. And of course, he had only 2 saves inside the penalty box. He had 31 out of 37 passes accurate, going for 84% pass accuracy, which I don't have any problems with. He had 9 long balls and 3 of them were accurate. So, yesterday I don't think Leno was a man to blame. I don't think he had much to do. He's not this kind of goalkeeper that's going to make an assist or start a big run. So I think a 6.9 is just enough for him. Hector Bellerin gets a 6.6 rating. He played 90 minutes. He had 4 ground duels and only one. He had 6 aerial duels and 1-5. And this is crazy. How short Bellerin is. He wins 5 grand duels out of 6, and actually only 1 on the ground out of 4. He lost possession 10 times. He had 1 foul, and he was also fouled 1 time. He had 70 touches in the 90 minutes. He had 48 accurate passes out of 53, totaling to a 91% passing accuracy. That needs a mention, doesn't it? That really needs a mention. I think that was brilliant. He never had any long balls there. He had 1 cross, accurate, none. Now imagine he had 1 cross and no accurate, no accurate cross. He created 1 big chance for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, a chance that I don't think Bellerin should be blamed throughout the game. I think if that chance was scored by Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, then we'll be saying very, very different things. Absolutely or absolutely different things. If you look at David Luiz's heat map, you could see how busy he was and his areas of operation. He had 1 clearance, he had 1 blocked shot. He dribbled, he was dribbled past 1 time. He had 1 ground duel and 4 aerial duels, and actually he won all the 4 aerial duels. He had 1 grand duel, and it wasn't accurate. Of course, the fact is Benfica did not actually give us a lot of trouble yesterday, especially in the first half. He lost possession 8 times. Of course, that's the typical David Luiz, isn't it? He was offside 1 time. I mean, I asked myself, why was he offside even? He touched the ball 84 times. He passed accurately 73 times out of the 80 passes he made, totaling to 91% ball ball passing accuracy. He never had any crosses, but he had 5 long balls and 3 of them were accurate. Of course, long balls, a typical thing of David Louis getting a 6.7 there for a player rating. 6.6 is Gabriel Magalis, who I think his performances have actually declined very, very much. Actually, they have tremendously declined. He played 90 minutes, but I don't know why his form is so poor. He had 2 clearances yesterday. He had 1 interception. He was dribbled past 2 times. He had 9 ground dwells and 6 ground dwell. No, he had 9 ground dwells and 6 area dwells. 4 ground dwells were won, and he also won 3 area dwells. And I think why I like Gabriel is if you look at his counterpart, David Louis, Louis is involved in less defensive, actions than Gabriel, and that's why I like him. And even if he plays with Rob Holding, you'll find that he'll be involved in more ground dwells. He'll be involved in more aerial dwells, especially defensive wise, and that's the reason as to why I like him. He lost the ball 16 times. That's ridiculous. He fouled 2 times. He was fouled 3 times. He had 115 touches, yesterday, and that shows you that he had more touches than Leno, Hector Bellerin, and David Louis. He had 88 accurate passes out of 102 passes, totaling to 86% passing accuracy, which is not bad. He had 10 long balls, and 4 of them were actually accurate. Dribble attempts, he had 1. And he was actually as successful. Well, let us go to the man I do not like, Cedric Soares, who had an assist actually in the game. He had 2 interceptions. He had 2 ground dwells, and he won none. And he also had 1 ground dwell, and he actually won none of them. Possession lost. He lost possession 14 times. And for me, this is a weak link in our defense. He is a liability. Touches, he touched the ball 67 times. Fewer times than David Louis and Hector Bellerin. He had 3 long balls. 2 of them were accurate. He had 3 crosses. None of them were actually accurate. He had only 1 key pass in the game. He passed 41 accurate passes out of 49, getting an 84% passing accuracy, something that I think was actually fair in the game. And he had 2 dribble attempts, and none of them were actually successful. So I think that is how our defense actually managed yesterday. I don't think we had a bad defense. I'm telling you. Look, the 6.6 and 6.7s and 6.9s might point that we were average, which I think we were generally in performance. But I still think the Arsenal yesterday, defensive wise, was a little bit better than what we expected. And so, our average age on the pitch was 26.2 years. That was not bad. That was not actually bad. Moving to the midfield, Ceballos actually played 89 minutes. He had 98 touches. That means Gabriel Magalis in the defense had more touches than Ceballos. And my problem with Ceballos is actually, why does he always get that ball and try to pass it to the left wing? Always. Whenever he's in, he's commanding the midfield, it shows that, we are unbalanced on the pitch whenever he is on the pitch, and I think he needs to stop that. I've seen, there's so many times I've seen him with the ball. He has options on the right wing, a lot of space on the right wing, opened up for him, and then he chooses to turn around and go for the left wing. I do not know why, but let us see what he did yesterday. He had 98 touches, like I said. He had 74 accurate passes out of 80 total passes made. That contributes to 93% of his of his passing accuracy, which is not bad. He had 1 key pass. He had 2 crosses. None of them were accurate. He had 3 long balls, and all of them were actually accurate. Dribble attempts, he had 1. He was accurate. Ground dwells, he had 9. He won 4. Area dwells, he had 1, and he actually won 8. Possession lost, he lost possession 12 times. I think that's a big scare. And I said this, I think it was in December last year. And I say, when you look at the ratio at which Arsenal loses the ball, It's alarming. You can't lose the ball like this, and we need to work on this. Yeah, he committed two fouls. He was fouled one time. No clearances, no block shots. He had two interceptions, two tackles, and he was dribbled past one time. He gets that 7.2 man of the midfield there. For me, my man of the midfield actually was Granit Xhaka, who played 90 minutes, and I think he was decent. 106 touches, 84 out of 95 passes accurate, totaling to 88% passing accuracy. Crosses in the game, he had only one. It wasn't accurate. Long balls, he had eight long balls. Only three were accurate. He needs to work on that. That was not so good actually, and I think that's one of the reasons that's why Ceballos is getting a higher rank than actually he is. Grand Wells, he had 9 and only won 4. Eredos, he had 2. He didn't win any. He lost possession 16 times. He fouled 4 times and was fouled only once. Tackles 2, interceptions 1, dribbles passed 1. So not really the best of games, but for me, he was the better man when it comes to the midfield, especially defensive wise. Now let's go to the hero of the day, Bukayo Saka, who gets 7.5. Rating, 90 minutes played, 1 goal scored, 40. Look, he had only 48 touches yesterday. He had an accurate passing, an accurate passing percentage of 89, 25 passes accurate out of 28 made. Crosses 2, none of them were accurate. Shots on target, he had 2. Shots off target, he had 1. Dribble attempts, he had actually 3, and 2 of them were successful. Ground dwells 1, he had 5 ground dwells, 1 out of 8. Aerial dwells 1, he had 2. He had 1 actually, 1 successful out of 2. He was fouled 3 times. He was offside 3 times, and he had 1 interception. And of course, for me, of course, he is the man of the match. For Arsenal there. But what I want to say is, yesterday we played into the hands of Benfica when it comes to the offside trap. They were just having a laugh. They were just having a laugh. Saka was offside 3 times. David Luiz was offside. Those are 4 times. Aubameyang was offside like 3 times. Emile Smith Rowe offside like 2 times. We're offside 10 times. Offside 10 times. That's a joke, isn't it? That is a joke. And I think we need to make our revision before we play them in the next game. And one fascinating play yesterday was Martin Odegaard, 7.4 7.4 rating. He played 89 minutes. He touched the ball 67 times. He had a 44. He actually had a 92% passing accuracy, 44 accurate passes out of 48 made. Key passes were 3. Crosses 3, and only 1 was accurate. Long balls 2, and only 1 was actually accurate. He had 2 dribbles and 1 was successful. He had 9 ground dwells and 2 aerial dwells. 5 of the 9 actually were successful. He lost possession 14 times. Tackles, he had 4 tackles, dribbled past 1 time. I think he's settling in. That's the fact. He's a new player. We have to understand that. And I think he's settling in. If you look at how many players actually struggle with the Premier League, I think for me, Odegaard is actually settling in very, very well. I don't know whether I'm mistaken, but if I'm not, and I pray that I'm not, I think he's really settling in so well. Minutes played for Emile Smith Rowe, there was 77. He has a 5.9 rating, which is red, showing that he was a little bit more average. He had an 81% passing accuracy, 30 times, 46 touches on the ball, 30 passes were accurate. He made 37 overall. He had 3 crosses, none of them were accurate. He had 1 long ball, and it wasn't actually accurate. He had 3 ground dwells, only 1. 2 aerial dwells, he didn't win any. Lost position 11 times. He was fouled 1 time, and he did foul 1 time. He was offside 1 time, and he had 1 clearance, dribbled past 1 time, and penalty committed 1. So he committed a penalty there, and I think that's why his rating is actually very, very low. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who missed a sitter, captain missing sitters. I think Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is going to be reflecting on that chance. It should have been a different game if he had scored that. It would have been a totally different game if Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang scored that, because it was a typical Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang tap-in goal. But he didn't score. I mean, we can't, just mourn, about that. Played 77 minutes. Shots of target, he had only 2. Dribble attempts, he had 1, and missed 1 big chance. Yeah, he touched the ball 21 times. He had 9 accurate passes out of 14. Having a 64% passing accuracy there in the game. I think the other person I can't talk about is Mikel Arteta. I think, for me, I think Arteta set up this game the way I wanted, and he got it right. He just got it right. I think, I don't want to say luck was on our side, but I think we didn't execute the job well. That's the fact. But I think Arteta set up this team the way every Arsenal player, the way every Arsenal fan would want, the way we wanted. Because I thought he would start Mohamed Elneny, which would be ridiculous, and he didn't do that. I think the centre back pairing was okay. I think the front 4 leading the attack were also okay. I think we didn't take our chances, and that's the problem with Arsenal. We never take our chances. And we are punished day in, day out for the same reason. Those are the player ratings. Tell me what you think about, those players that actually came off the bench. Pepe did come on. I don't think he did much. Gabriel Martinelli did come on. I also didn't think. I don't think he did much as well. Tierney also came up, and of course I think Mikel Arteta brought in Kian Tierney to get that touch, to get that feeling of the grass. I think something like that, match day fitness, because we play Manchester City over the weekend, and the preview is going to be dropping today.